Last week in Michigan politics, an attorney for one of Michigan's alleged fake 2020 electors is claiming they acted at the direction of former President Donald Trump, what a new court filing reveals. Plus, as deadlines loom, Ottawa County faces pushback from community members over its public health budget and its decision to hold off on approving the county's early voting plans. What happened in that 5-hour meeting? And some union workers striking in downtown Grand Rapids today. What impact a larger strike from one of the nation's most influential unions could have on West Michigan? I'm Josh Alburtus, and this is your 13 on your side rundown. And we begin in court where a new filing is saying that Michigan's 16 alleged fake electors acted under former President Donald Trump. An attorney for Amy Facinello, one of the 16 facing multiple felony charges, filed on Monday in the Western District of Michigan to have the case moved to federal court, saying Facinello and the other defendants acted at President Trump's direction. In the filing, the attorney wrote, quote, Ms. Facinello and the other Republican electors in 2020 election acted at the direction of the incumbent president and other federal officials. It goes on to say, quote, attorneys for the president specifically instructed Ms. Facinello that the Republican electors meeting and casting their ballots on December 14th, 2020 was consistent with counsel's advice and was necessary to preserve the presidential election contest. And a big turnout in Ottawa County on Tuesday as commissioners met to review the proposed county budget. Dozens of people spoke about funding to cuts to the health department and the effort to pay for early voting in the county. Ottawa County Commissioners taking up a number of issues on Tuesday ahead of deadlines for many county officials. One issue being changes to the proposed county budget, a process that has been mired in controversy as proposed cuts from the health department's original request have caused concern. The $13 million health budget proposal would include $2 million less in general funds than originally requested.
COVID-19 did not just bring a virus, it also brought an increase in substance use, mental health crises, opioid overdoses, and sexually transmitted infections, all of which are still occurring today at a higher rate than in 2019. The healthcare community depends on the Department of Public Health to help address these concerns.
More than 40 people took part in the first public comment, but it wasn't just the health budget that brought concern. Another topic looming large was an item not on the agenda, approval of the county's early voting plan, one that the county clerk has said would save roughly $500,000, opposed to municipalities handling new requirements on their own.
I was a little discouraged to see that the early voting and the election asks were removed from today's agenda. Much like it's your budget season, it's our budget season too. And that's the case for a lot of us local jurisdictions.
While a discussion on the plan was held, a motion to add a vote to approve it was struck down. Some commissioners saying it was to allow for more discussion on issues including watermarking all ballots and securing drop boxes.
Part of the reason we want to take a look at a few more details is so that if by chance something happens and there are questions about the next election, that we will have known that we have taken care of every single detail.
Amid questions, the county clerk worked to assure leaders and the public that measures would be taken to secure the early vote.
I'm not operating so that you can trust me. I'm building a system here in place that we need integrity to trust the whole thing, right? Because we have so many checks and balances in this process.
And the County Commission has one more full board meeting vote ahead of deadlines, both to get the budget finalized by October 1st and have local clerks submit their early voting plan to the county. And less than a week before that public hearing, hundreds gathered outside the county's health department to express their support for its workers amid the controversy. 13 on your side's Micah Cho has the story.
Our main message is we want our health department to be fully funded and to continue the excellent service they have provided to our county for many, many years.
Hundreds showing up to the Ottawa County Department of Public Health in Holland, showing their support for the department amid recent turmoil between Health Officer Adeline Hambley and the County Commission. Kim Nagy with the Ottawa Integrity PAC calling it a rally for public health.
The health department's services are vital and they're vast. Most people don't know everything the health department does. restaurant inspections, food inspections.
To these commissioners, the Department of Public Health is not fear-mongering.
Recently, Hambly was locked out of the county's social media accounts after she made claims that the $2.5 million budget proposed by the administration would put the department at risk, even possibly closing its doors. County leadership responded saying she was fear-mongering and insubordinate. Hambly spoke up during the Finance and Administration Committee meeting Tuesday.
In some instances, you are literally taking services out of the mouths of children with these actions. This is not a return to pre-COVID budget levels, since it results in cuts to services and positions that existed pre-COVID.
Dr. Rob Davidson, an emergency room physician, is also concerned with the direction public health is heading in Ottawa County.
It's so critically important. They do all of their work behind the scenes. They are not in the spotlight. They're not seeking attention. Unfortunately, the actions of the County Commission have placed the spotlight on public health, and we're here to let our County Commission know what they're doing isn't okay.
And United Auto Workers representing Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan have gone on strike demanding better wages. The UAW represents around 1,400 members at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan and Blue Care Network. 4 local Blue Cross unions have begun picketing in Grand Rapids and other locations across the state. The UAW began multi-employer bargaining with the 2 health insurance companies in July, asking for wage increases, preservation of health care benefits, as well as bringing back jobs that were outsourced. And this strike could be just the beginning of an even larger one if the UAW and Big 3 automakers don't come to an agreement soon. Nearly 150,000 auto plant workers are also set to go on strike this week if negotiations with General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis fall through. The UAW and the Big 3 began exchanging wage and benefits proposals last week. On Friday, the union's president says the company's offer weren't enough. He since met with GM and Ford and planned to meet with Stellantis earlier this week.
If the worst case would happen and we had a strike against all 3, then all of a sudden we start looking at effectively a cost in West Michigan of between 100 and 150 million a week to our economy.
And the Big 3 have until 11:59 Thursday night to reach an agreement with the UAW before the contracts expire and the union goes on strike. And now to your voice, your vote. With the presidential election just over a year away, a recent statewide poll predicts a tight race to earn Michigan's electoral votes. Epic MRA polled 600 Michiganders and asked them questions about state and national politics, including what voters thought of the 2 front-leading presidential candidates. When asked who they would vote for if the presidential election was held today between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Michiganders were virtually split on their response. 46% of respondents said Biden and 45% were for Trump. 9% were undecided or chose not to answer. The poll also asked for people to share their party affiliation as well. The response shows a split in Michigan voters, with 43% leaning Democrat, 41% leaning Republican, and 13% saying they are independent. And the Michigan Republican Party is hosting their leadership conference on Mackinac Island next week. The conference runs from Friday, September 22nd through Sunday, the 24th. Keynote speakers at the event include former Arizona gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake, actor Jim Caviezel, and conservative filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Republican Chairwoman Christina Caramo will also speak at the opening and closing ceremonies. And a deal has been reached between the Grant School Board and Family Health Care to keep the Child and Adolescent Health Center at Grant Middle School open. 13 on Your Side's Jeremiah Brown spoke with a parent this week who said that they are thrilled that the health center will be staying, but also still concerned over some of the new conditions that are included in this new contract.
After a summer of uncertainty, parents and community members in Grant have received an answer, and the Child and Adolescent Health Center will remain at Grant Middle School.
Both sides agreed, both the healthcare center and the school board agreed to the terms, and so we are up and rolling. So I'm just very glad there wasn't any interruption of service, and I know a lot of our families are very relieved as well.
Family Health Care issued a statement saying that the contract does not change the way services are provided, and follows all requirements set by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Reporting out, they'll have a couple times a year where they'll report out to the board about number of patients seen, number of students seen.
Increased communication is included in the new contract, with Family Healthcare also stating that the board placed heavy importance on discussing the student design mural during negotiations. Designed to portray diversity and inclusion, was the focus of debate last October.
Part of the contract, the adjustment was specific approval steps to have any type of artwork or any type of things of that nature approved by both the superintendent and the board president as well.
That just makes us a little fearful of discrimination and not having the people who felt comfortable there feel comfortable anymore.
Dewey attended Monday's board meeting and says parents are relieved that the health center will stay, but also remain disheartened that these events have taken place.
At this point, even though ultimately it appears as though the right decision has been made, the 4 board members that are being recalled, they have simply lost the community's trust.
Recall petitions have been launched, which Dewey says they plan to continue.
We want to continue this recall and get people that actually care about the community's input and our kids in there.
And that's the rundown for your week in Michigan politics. Be sure to keep up with all of the top political stories of the day on air and online at our website, 13onyourside.com. I'm Josh Alburtus. We'll see you next week.